Another example, this was a previous example in which we discussed how to find amplitude, frequency, and speed. A radio station broadcast on wavelength of 250 meters. The speed of the radio waves is 3 exponent 8 or 300 million meters per second. Calculate the frequency. How you can find a frequency? You have the speed, you have the wavelength. How to find the frequency? So speed is frequency multiplied by wavelength. But in the question we need a frequency. So it will be speed divided by the wavelength. What will be the frequency? So speed is 300 or 3 exponent 8 or 300 million meters divided by wavelength, which is 250. What's the answer? 300,000 million divided by 250. So it's 12 exponent 5 or 1.2 exponent 6. When answer is too big, better write in scientific form. So 1.2 exponent 6. And because it is a frequency, the unit will be hertz. More examples I will discuss. Just a moment. So B is actually representing the amplitude distance from mean position to extreme position. D is the wavelength. C is half wavelength, and A is twice of amplitude. The diagram shows a side view of water waves at a particular time. The diagram is drawn full size. Which statement about the wave is correct? First, A and B cannot be an answer because water waves are not longitudinal, they are transverse. So what could be the answer? Actually, time is not given. So if time is not given, we cannot measure the frequency, because for the frequency, we should have a time. So basically, we can measure a distance. So we can measure the wavelength, the distance between the two successive crests or two successive troughs, and it is a transverse wave. D is the correct answer. The diagram shows 4 waves drawn to the same scale. Which statement is correct? What is the right answer for this? So amplitude of P is same as amplitude of R. That's true. They have the same height. The amplitude of, so A is right, but The amplitude of S is double. So amplitude of S is double as Q. No, it's same. So that cannot be an answer. Amplitude means the height. So if you check, these numbers are not written, but the markings are there. Like this is the first mark, second mark, first mark, second. So amplitude of P and amplitude of R is same. The height is same for them. Their wavelengths are different. Amplitude of S is double. S amplitude is double than Q. No, it's same because 2 points, 2 points. So that's not correct. The wavelength of Q is double as P. So if you check 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks for P, the wavelength, and 4 blocks for Q. So they have the same wavelength. And wavelength of S is same as Q. Wavelength of S and Q is not same because wavelength of S is smaller and wavelength of Q is longer. Is it clear, this question? Which waves are longitudinal? You will discuss that because sound waves are longitudinal. Question 12. Question 12. A boy throws a small stone into a pond. The waves spread out from the stone, hits the water and travel to the side of the pond. The boy noticed that 8 waves in 5 seconds. What is the frequency? Number of waves in 1 second. 8 waves in 5 seconds. So frequency means number of waves or number of vibration divided by time. So how many waves or vibrations are there? 8 waves and the time interval. So 8 divided by 5, which is equals to 1.6 hertz. Is it clear? The number of the vibrations in 1 second. Question 14. A swimmer is sitting on a rock at a seashore looking at passing waves. He noticed that 5 wavelengths or 5 waves passes him in 20 seconds. What is the frequency? Yeah, that's correct. A is the answer because 5 wavelengths of 5 divided by 20 is 1 by 4, which is equals to 0.25. Yes, 0.25 hertz. Question 18. The diagram represents a wave. How many wavelengths are there between X and Y? So 1.5 wavelengths. So C is the answer. How? Look, this is one wave. This is one wave, and then half wave. If it will complete it, so 1.5. What is the unit of wavelength? What happened, Yusuf? You want the previous question? In the previous question, we need a distance in terms of wavelength. Look, the distance between the two successive crests or two successive troughs is called wavelength. So this one is crest, this is also crest. So this distance is one complete wavelength, okay? And the horizontal distance between the crest and the trough, the horizontal distance, that is equals to half wavelength. So this one is one wavelength and this one is half wavelength. So how many wavelengths are there between X and Y? It's equal to 1.5 or one whole number 1 by 2. What is meant by frequency? It is number of vibration in 1 second. What is meant by compression? The region where the particles are closer and pressure is high, we call that as compression. The frequency of a sound is 600 hertz, 6800 hertz, and the speed is 340 meter per second. What is the wavelength? The frequency of a sound is 6800 and the speed is 340. What is the wavelength? So V is equals to F lambda, or lambda is equals to F divided by V. Sorry, V divided by F. The formula speed is frequency multiplied by wavelength. So it will be 340 divided by 6800. The 0 will cancel with 0, 34, and this will be 2, 1 divided by 20, 0.05. Is it clear, this question? Okay, next question. The graph represents a wave on a rope. Determine the amplitude. How to find the amplitude? First, we have to identify the mean, the center position. So what you will do in exam also, you can draw a line to its center position. Or the best way to identify the amplitude, measure the total height of the wave, like one crest and one trough, measure the total height and divide by 2. Because when you divide this height by 2, you will get the amplitude. So this one, each box is representing 0.2. So this was 0.2, 0.4, 0.6. So this is 0.6. And this one is 7 and 7.4. So it is from 0.6 to 7.4. So that's equal to, it starts with 0.6 and till 7.4. So that's equal to 6.8. But 6.8 is a total height. We just need an amplitude. So to get an amplitude, what we will do, we'll divide it by 2. So that's equal to 3.4. Is it clear? I measure the height because it is not starting from 0, the wave. It started from 0.6 and the maximum is 7.4 and the half is a wavelength. And the unit is centimeters to 3.4 centimeter. Then calculate the wavelength. How we can calculate the wavelength of this wave? The distance between the two successive crests is called a wavelength. So you can take any two successive crests. So I take from so I need a distance between the 2 points. So this one is 39 and this one is, each box is equal to 2. So this will be 38, not 39. So 38 and 62, 64, 66, 68. So 38 and 68. So when we subtract, it will be 30 centimeter. Is it clear? The wavelength. A wave travel along a water surface has a wavelength of 2.5 centimeter and speed 8 centimeter per second. What is the frequency? So V is equals to F lambda. Frequency will be speed divided by wavelength. Speed of the wave is given 8 and the wavelength is 2.5. 8 divided by 2.5 equal to 3.2 hertz. The next part, a loudspeaker is built into the side of a swimming pool. The loudspeaker produces sound waves in the water of wavelength 0.25 meter. The frequency of a sound wave is 6 kilohertz. When you are substituting, you should always substitute in hertz. So first I have to convert kilohertz into hertz. So to convert kilohertz into hertz, I will multiply by 1000. So that will become 6000 hertz. So this is 6000 hertz. We have the wavelength 0.25. We need a speed. So speed is frequency multiplied by wavelength. 1500 meter per second. So these are some questions which are related to the properties of waves such as longitudinal and transverse waves. Any doubt related to today's class?